Are we already started? Oh, I'm right on time to watch Taiwan live TV!
Hey everyone, MJ here. Yeah, we're down at the local Jarjar Store, and this is not exactly a late night broadcast because it's a little early actually. Want to say hi to everyone. We're broadcasting exclusively on Periscope, and we're going to upload to YouTube, which is what I did last time because it was actually quite successful. And I want to say hi to Dave in Osaka. He's our resident moderator. How are you there, Dave? Nice to see you. Always a pleasure to see you. All right. There you go. That was kind of weird. Okay. We're at the Jarjar Store. Now, frequent, long-time viewers of my streams know that occasionally I stream here, often in the afternoon, and I show, the cars going. Excuse me, I'm burping. I've been drinking. The car's going by and so forth. Tonight, I decided to bring my grill down and have a little fun. Now, I lent my grill to Jackson. You guys remember Jackson? And when Jackson gave it back to me, it didn't have the bottom plate in it, so it's making a big pile of ash. But let me show you the grill and what I got on it right now. And this is going to be handheld. I guess this is kind of like Periscope standard. That's a big piece of fat pork. We call this fei roe, fat meat. And everybody knows in Asia that eating fat is actually good for you. It's only in Western democracies that people think that fat is bad. It's weird because people think that animal fat magically transforms itself into human fat. Stupid. Anyway, yeah, here it is, and this is charcoal. This is lump charcoal, and this is a piece of fatty pork that I have on the grill. And yeah, this is strange how it's doing that. I gotta check and see if that's actually just an artifact on my screen or if everybody sees that. So this is the Jarjar Store, and Dave in Osaka has been here, Casper's been here, John Ho, Jevons, John Sabo, Yuka, you name it, JL, all the folks that have visited here and been to Win-Win's have been to this Jarjar Store, and they all know that it is a fantastic Southeast Asian store. So that's almost done. Yeah, sorry about my food commentary, but I don't know. I just call them the way I call them. Now, I have this all in the... yes, I have. You're exactly right. And one of, actually, I would call my first successful, where I had like over 400 views, broadcast on the broadcast platform. I did right here, dark one. Now, I have a little, one of these little spongy neoprene kind of wetsuit sort of bottle protectors, but this is a bottle of Bootsy. And I've had some of that fei roe, that salt pork, and I've had some, I actually had a steak. And I never had Bootsy barbecue sauce on actual steak before, and I didn't know how it was going to taste. It tasted fantastic. Now this, believe it or not, is pepper salt. In Asia, it's common to have white pepper and salt mixed together. You can buy this. This is 20 NT, so it's like 60 cents or something like that. And this is, I got to go over here and take care. Hold, I'll take you with me. I'll take you with me. Let me go over here. Hey, Bernardo, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let me get my tongs here. I got to flip this thing over. Nice to see you, Bernardo. Yeah. Come here. Oh, yeah. That'll be done in a few minutes. Yeah, it's getting kind of firm. This is pork. That's a big rind on it. Now, nobody eats the rind, okay, but we do eat the fat, the underlying fat in here. And that kind of fat is actually good for you. Yeah. And it's pretty interesting because my personal friends know, and I've mentioned this on live stream before, that I do suffer from arrhythmia. And occasionally I have some very scary symptoms. And I had a kind of fibrillation the other night, and it was atrial fibrillation. And so I bought an ECG or an EKG recording watch so I could try to, like, the next time it happens, grab that waveform to show my doctor. And the funny thing is the app that goes with the phone advises you to eat more animal fat in order to be healthy. Pretty interesting. Yeah, that's kind of Chinese medicine and and Eastern philosophy as opposed to Western medicine. All right, so here we go. I'm going to show the other camera because it's more interesting. We're going to go over here and show you some of the neighborhood. Just for a second. Thank you for all the hearts. I see the hearts because I'm looking on. I'm actually monitoring on Periscope. Yeah. I actually want to look at this and see, did it? Nope. Okay. The funny thing is, when I switch cameras, it does a very bizarre thing on my end, but it seems like it's okay on the stream. I just can't get the ultra wide angle lens, but that's okay. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think while you're looking at the traffic, I'm going to go get this piece of feuille roll, and I'm going to get it off, and I'll put it on my plate. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to shake up a little of the Bootsy sauce. Oh yeah, you see these electric scooters, right? Like this, like right over there? These are a pain in the neck. There's no license plate. These people have no insurance, they got no money, no helmet or nothing. And they do stupid stuff like they ride at night with no lights on because they're trying to save battery. And so if one of these guys whacks into your car or something, they can just take off. You can't find them. So you have to run them down. Bizarre. There's another one. Boy, it's amazing. They're all over the place. It's like a dealership here. So, all right, now I'm going to cut a piece of this. I'm going to cut a piece of this open, this pork, and I'm going to show it to you. So. All right, here we go. Yeah. Look at this, man. Bootsy sauce on it, so. Filipino guys over here. Hey, how you guys doing? See that chicken over there? Some Taiwanese guys bought that chicken about half an hour ago, and they left. They don't want it. So you guys want it, you could just barbecue. They left it. They gave it to me, and this beer too. These 3 cans of beer, and that chicken. You guys are welcome to it if you want it. That's cool. Let me show you this. Boy, oh boy. Look at this. Bootsy barbecue sauce. Really quite amazing. Man, oh man. I love it. So that's why this is a food cast. I used to use the word scope for everything, but I don't, because it's a broadcast, not a scope. Yeah. And the beer that they left is the Kirin bar beer, which incidentally is made in China. A lot of people don't know that. It says that it's Japanese style, but let me see if I can see where it's. Oh yeah, here you go. I'll show you this. Look at this. Look at this. Back. So you guys can see this if it'll focus. See this word right here to the left? Zhongguo, China. This beer is made in China, even though it's Japanese beer. They outsource it to a, China brewery for sale in the Taiwan market, which is ironic because Qingdao, the famous China beer, the Taiwan version is made by Taiwan Beer Company. In my opinion, it's terrible. I used to drink Qingdao in America, but it's made in China. When I came to Taiwan, I saw Qingdao in the can in the 7-Eleven. I was ecstatic. Great. It was fantastic beer. And I cracked a can of it open. I couldn't even finish it. It's terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen. You look very bored. Are you bored?
No.
Okay, and you're.
I'm tired. Maybe it's tired.
Well, please, drink this stuff here if you want it, okay? This guy's left it. And the chicken too. I'm telling you, if you guys don't drink this beer and you don't grill this chicken, I'm not going to believe you're actually like real Filipino people. Because I've been to the Philippines. Yeah. And grilling and drinking go together, it's fantastic stuff. I'll show you this guy. It's funny, so these three guys. They got these electric scooters I was talking about earlier. Yeah. So there's never a dull moment here, down here in the Jarjar in my neighborhood. And from the take care. Bye bye. From the perspective of the camera, looking at me, the Winwin's place, the fried chicken place and the iconic window where everybody sits is over that way. And not last time, I think the time before, I forget. I did a walk around and I showed the neighborhood, and you can see what it looks like if you look back in a couple of scopes. Wow. There's nothing like Bootsy on that pork, and a little tiny bit. Bootsy has salt in it, and it's usually just enough. But you just jazz it up a little bit because this has pepper, white pepper. Nice. So, I don't know. I don't know if I want to talk so much. I just want to eat. Why don't we put it out there? Why don't you guys ask some questions? Do a AMA, as they say. What's really interesting is I've had like at least 5 times tonight, different Filipino people come over, and it's true. Some Taiwanese guys came by earlier, and they saw me set at the grill, and they said, "Yo, you're gonna grill?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, can we buy stuff and cook on your grill?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So they bought some stuff, and they bought too much stuff, and so they left a pack of chicken over there, and some of that bar beer that I showed you, and they said, "I'll give it to you," and they split. And so I told these Filipino guys, there's at least 5 different times Filipino guys come by, and I offered it to them, and they didn't want it. It's like, what's going on? So, all right. This new watch that I got, right? The EKG watch. It also does line messages. So yes, that was, believe it or not, Walter Winchell from the Stork Club. And if I'm not mistaken, I forget. I am mistaken. I don't remember the table. But if you look at the Stork Club on Wikipedia, or Walter Winchell, he actually had a table, set up. Well, the Stork Club was like the place to be. And so, on any given night, there might be, Orson Welles. There might be any number of huge radio and television stars, Jackie Gleason, anybody that you can think of, and they would be at the table. I mean, they would be at the restaurant. And the cool part about it is, and I can tell you from personal experience, that anybody who's in the public eye, who's a star, they want to remain that way. So they want to remain in the public eye. So he didn't have to even ask people to come over. He would just be, talking about what's going on in the world. He might talk about like some newspaper articles or something that came out, and like, oh, Errol Flynn came by. Hey, Errol, how you doing? And he would, be interviewing them on radio right at the Stork Club. And it was good all the way around for everybody. It was good for Walter Winchell's show. It was good for the radio network. It was really good for the club, and it was good for the the publicity of the artist who was interviewing. But the cool thing about the Stork Club is that it was open to the public. Of course, you had to get a reservation. But if it was your anniversary and you were just like Joe Blow and your wife, you could be sitting next to some, famous stars, and it was just a cool place. And they had different rooms in it too. And my father apparently went there because I have a World War II era photo of him with his best friend, who was a Filipino American. My father told me that this Filipino American guy was the best aviator he'd ever seen. Oh, this would have been in the early 40s. Well, let's do this. I got my second device, and I think I've been cleaning this out. So I think I deleted my Wikipedia. Stork Club. Okay. Now, Stork Club Wikipedia. Here we go. It says that the Stork Club was a nightclub in Manhattan, New York City, which was in existence from 1929 to 1965 and was one of the most prestigious clubs in the world. So there it is. Now, let me, I'll find out about it. Let me just go down. I got a second here, so let me, it even, the funny thing at the bottom, it mentions Walter Winchell. Interior clientele and image. Elizabeth Taylor and her parents in 1947. Conduct. Guests were expected to dress to high standards, with the men wearing evening suits and the women wearing gowns. And this is a quote: gowns with silk gloves reaching the elbow. This was the day when men were men and women were women, and they weren't afraid to dress like it. It's amazing. The requirement for all men was a necktie. Those who were not wearing one were either lent one or had to buy one to gain attendance. Interesting. There were some racist issues and so forth. Several celebrities did not abide by the rules and were banned from the club. Listen to this. Humphrey Bogart was banned after a prolonged shouting match with Billingsley. Billingsley was the owner. Milton Berle was officially barred for too much table hopping, shouting, and doing handsprings in the club. Milton Berle. Berle contended that the real reason was because of a Stork Club satire he had recently performed on his television program.
你不卡了，我要找一本书。
OK， 好。
没关系，你慢慢的，我没有关系。
好，好，谢谢。对 ，OK， 谢谢。That's the boss agent moving my stuff out of the way because he's got to close the door down. So, now this is interesting. Jackie Gleason, who was a frequent guest of the club with his two daughters, was being seated with a female companion when the couple was asked to leave the premises in March 1957. Billingsley claimed that Gleason's conversation became loud and off-color when he arrived at the table and barred Gleason from the Stork Club for life. Gleason said he had done nothing wrong. He wondered if the problem was because he was a member of the musicians union, since the club's wait and kitchen staff had been on strike since January of that year. So let me see if I can find the Billingsley was the owner. He gave everybody gifts, you know, so that they would come back frequently to the club. I gotta find the thing about Walter Winchell though. Okay, I'm gonna go to the Walter Winchell part of it. And okay, so he died in 1972, but he was a syndicated American newspaper gossip columnist and radio news commentator. He started out in vaudeville, actually. Now this is interesting. He was really, really smart. He was known for an innovative style of gossipy staccato news briefs, jokes, and jazz-age slang. Yeah. So that would be like hipster stuff. Popular culture. I'm trying to find where it says the Stork Club part of it. Okay, I wasn't prepared to do this. Apparently, he had underworld connections. TV. Ethical failings. Oh boy, this is worth reading. Okay, talks about his style and so forth. Anyway, I guess I got to go back here. This is annoying because it's all. I'm going back to the Stork Club. I want you guys to hear this if I can find it. Okay, the Stork Club actually. It was kind of sad when it went out of business because everyone said that they knew the end was near when he advertised like a hamburger and fries for $1.50. You know, they knew that it had come to an end. But in the late night group, which you can find on TaiwanLive.tv, information about that. In the late night group, later on, I will post the photo of my dad at the Stork Club, and there is actually a Stork Club ashtray on the bar in front of him. Now let me see. Trying to find out. Gosh, what is the clientele image? Sorry, anyway, I wasn't prepared to do this, and so it's a very, very interesting article on Wikipedia. And actually there's a movie called The Stork Club from 1945, and I saw that movie. It's very, very cool. It was really, really cool. So I don't know why I can't find it in the article. So I'm okay. Hang on a second. I'm gonna try this again. Okay. Sorry about this. Sorry to make you guys sit here and wait. Okay, I'm going to try to do both together, both Walter Winchell and Store Club. And yeah, he called it's funny though. The funny thing is Walter Winchell's line was he called it New York's New Yorkiest place. So no, I was born in 1956, so I was probably 10 years too late. It wasn't until later. See, when I started, being in the record business and growing up listening to my mom on radio and TV as a singer and stuff, it's always been interesting to me about, the business and how people promote things and contents of shows and things. And of course, when I had my own national talk show in the 90s, I had a very, specific, narrow range for a format. But so I like to read about how other, successful, like world famous broadcasters have actually done things and what they base their show on. Because it comes around. It comes all around. And I've been saying, if there was like my old pal Lou Del Pidio that used to own the Roxy in Boston, with live streaming now, if you had a table that was your table and you did a live stream every week from like the hippest club in New York City, and you had like a nice, professional audio broadcast system, high resolution cameras and so forth, and you were just interviewing patrons at the same time, stars who would come in, it would be tremendously popular. It really, really would. There's Brian May, and there's, and there's Joe Blow and his wife. Hey guys, what do you think? And there's Mick Jagger, and so that's kind of how the Store Club was. Now this is interesting. Billingsley was smart. He said the Store Club previously provided live entertainment. But after Billingsley realized the reason people came to the club was to watch people, he abandoned the floor shows in favor of giving expensive gifts to regular customers of the club. A live band was provided in the main dining room for dancing, so he knew that people wanted to dance. And so it wasn't like a show where people wanted to sit and watch, like the Tropicana Club that's depicted in I Love Lucy, and Ricky Ricardo, where they would put a show on and people would be sitting at a table, drinking cocktails. It was either people were dancing, in the ballroom with the live orchestra, or they were in one of the other rooms. They were smoking, drinking, and sometimes playing cards and dining there, and just to people watch. So now listen to this. This is interesting. Billingsley had a keen sense for business, and boy, that's putting it mildly. Listen to this. Before he purchased the building where the Store Club was, the yearly rent for the space it occupied was $12,000. Billingsley rented out the hat and cloak check area to a separate concession for $27,000 a year. This paid the rent for the Store Club, leaving $15,000 annually to cover bad checks. When Ernest Hemingway wanted to pay his bill with a $100,000 check he received for the movie rights for Whom the Bell Tolls, I wonder. That's a good question. Probably on YouTube. Now check this out. I'm going to repeat this. When Ernest Hemingway wanted to pay his bill with a $100,000 check he received for the movie rights for Whom the Bell Tolls, Billingsley told him that he would be able to cash the check after the club closed at 4 a.m. Yeah, Joe Blow, I know. He kept the Store Club's name vivid in the minds of his patrons through mailing lists and a club newsletter. And we do that today with mailing lists. Billingsley was also aware of the need for a good working relationship with the press, food and drink for the reporters, and photographers assigned to cover the Stork Club were on the house. Now, Josephine Baker made charges of racism and stuff. There was stuff going on. It's 1951, you know. But, you know, anyway. This is okay. Let me read this. This will be interesting. On October 15th, 1951, Josephine Baker made charges of racism against the Stork Club. Baker visited the club on October 16th as the guest of Roger Rico and his wife. Both entertainers were at the Stork after their theater performances. Okay, so you know, Josephine Baker is a big deal, and coming from, you know, theater to the club. Baker said that she ordered a steak and was apparently still waiting for it an hour later. The controversy grew when Baker accused Walter Winchell of being in the club room at the time and not coming to her aid. Winchell was at the club. He said he had greeted Baker and vocalist Roger Rico as the two left their cub room table. Winchell said he was not aware of there being any problem and left for a late screening of the film The Desert Fox. The next morning, Winchell's rumored failure to assist Baker was big news, and he received countless telephone calls. The incident blew into a major scandal and was widely publicized in the radio and newspapers. Mrs. Rico, who was part of the Baker party with her husband, said that Baker's steak was waiting for her at the table after she returned from her phone call, but the entertainer chose to make a stormy exit from the Stork anyhow. News accounts show conflicting statements from the Rico, so there you go. Who knows? Who knows? So, I'm still trying to find the part about where it says that this involved lawsuits and all kinds of crazy stuff, and the FBI, because Billingsley had a long-standing friendship with the FBI and Edgar Hoover too, J. Edgar Hoover. Anyway, so I'm just trying to. It said that the hard times fell on the Stork Club in '56. It lost money for the first time. But anyway, I'm just saying that if you know what you're doing, and you can really, I mean, if you know what you're doing, you could leverage this live streaming thing much like that. I mean, I don't know anybody who's done any kind of a show remotely similar to that sense. And of course, I don't live in an area of the world where I could do that, unless, of course, you wanted, you know, me to interview Wu Bai in Chinese, you know, or maybe Wang Li Hong, who speaks English. For those of you who know who Wang Li Hong is, I met him back in 2008, I think. Nice guy. So anyway, I don't know why. I'm figuring I can't really see it where it talks about how he, yeah. It's all, yeah. It's been a long time since I read this article. When I read this quite a while ago, and it, the big deal about, also about the, about Walter Winchell, you know, and being the, like the columnist, you know, that ran out of there. I mean, that worked out of there. It was really something. Let's see what this says. Oh, 可以吗？谢谢你，谢谢。好啊。Anyway, so that's all I'm going to do. If you want to read about it, the Stork Club. And I got to tell you, I think that if anybody who has, you know, the connections to set up in some kind of a club, you know, and could work with the owner, it would actually increase the popularity of the club, and also of the entertainers and the patrons, you know, who go there. So anyway, remember years ago in the Boston area, there was a big band night, not too far from where I live, and my wife at the time wanted to go, and we took another couple with us, and we got there and sat at this big table with a lot of other people, and the host master was a gentleman by the name of Bill Marlowe, who I'd known for quite some time. He had been personal friends of Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Judy Garland. Knew all the Rat Pack. Amazing gentleman. He originally had opposed rock and roll on the radio because he didn't want to see the end of the big band era. I understand that, and I respect him for his convictions. But it just so happened that on this big band night, Bill Marlowe was hosting, and we're sitting at the table, and I love it when this happens. A couple across from us, the white goes, "Honey, look, that's Bill Marlowe." And he goes, "Oh, Bill Marlowe, he's so fantastic. He's I've been listening to him for years." They're going on and on. And I'm looking at my wife like, so I looked over and I said, "Would you like to meet him?" And they're like, "Oh, could we?" I'll be right back. It was fantastic. Such a gentleman. He had some problem with his eyes, so he would wear shades like all the time, and it was really actually it made him look cool. So he was in this club, and the lights weren't that bright, but he was still wearing his sunglasses. And I went over to say, "Hey, Bill, how's it going?" And, "Oh, how's it going?" And blah blah blah. I said, "Listen, there's a couple at the table, big fans, love to meet you." And he said, "I'll be right over." I said, "Okay." So I went back, and up to this point, you know, this couple's thinking maybe I'm kind of full of it or something. Well, about 10 minutes later, he came over and he made their night. It was fantastic. They loved it. All right, I want to ask you guys a question. All right, I'll get something in my pocket. Okay, now, does anybody know what this is? Is anybody still listening? Anybody know what this is? What's this? What's this? Hold on. Anybody know what that is? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It is. And the reason there's a guitar pick is because there's a guitar. Some of you guys can hear this. Now, the thing of it is Prism is in stereo. I haven't used this guitar for about 2 months, and it's still in tune. It's amazing. Listen to that, except for the low E. Fide, we were having earlier we had steak, and now I've got some pork that just came off the grill. So I'll give you that in a second. She gives me everything tenderly. The kiss my lover brings, she brings to me, and I love her. A love like ours would never die, as long as I have you. Bright are the stars that shine, dark is the sky. I know this love of mine will never die, and I love her. Now the thing is, right? Yeah. Well, that kind of narrows it down. Thank you. There's a, because it goes, and I love her, then it goes, and it does the modulation, so I can go. So, anyway. Okay, Fide, here you go. Thank you. Hey, Linda, how you doing? Let me do that. All right, this was the pork that we had, and I got to tell you, I'm stuffed. This is the second piece, man. I'm not going to eat that much. I'm going to take it back. But over here near my bike, that little thing there is some chicken that some Taiwanese guys bought, and they left it here. And they told me going to give it to me if I want it, so, but I don't want it. This guitar is an acoustic guitar. It's called Vivid, and I bought it in Thailand about 2006 or 2007. I paid 2,000 baht for it. It has like an output, right, with a pickup, but the pickup fell out about 6 years ago, so I never use it. So no, it's okay. It works out, and I had to modify the bridge. It was too high. I took the bridge out, the shim out, and I sanded it down. And I put electric guitar strings on it, so I can kind of, maybe I should point the camera down at the guitar. I don't know. It's better looking than me. Maybe this way. I don't know. So, like, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Carmen and the Raspberries. If a road, we wouldn't have to be worried tonight. Baby, oh, I wanna be with you so bad. Oh, baby, I wanna be with you, oh yeah, I wanna be with you. So, that's my Eric Carmen and the Raspberries. Yeah. When Eric Carmen was 22, man, he could sing like so high. I can't sleep nights wishing you were here beside me. Can't help feeling that's the way it ought to be. We could run away, but I gotta die to hear the words they say. I I guess I can still sing high too. I wasn't even thinking about that, but so yeah. Some of those old guys. I got to tell you, man. You know, I saw Brad Delp from Boston. I was like 10 rows back, and I saw him, and I met him later after the show, and I saw him do, you know, an hour show, and he didn't even break a sweat, and the guy wasn't even like hoarse, you know, and he's singing more than a feeling when I hear that song used to play, you know, and he's like, you know, filing his nails, you know. His nails right, so there you go. Anyway, it's pretty amazing. Oh, that's true, yeah. Actually, though, with Bootsy, we're going to change that. And you know what? It's after 10. The door's closed behind me. See, the door's closed. Everything's closed. So shortly, she's going to turn off the light. It's going to be a dark scope. So, you want to know what I have this habit. It's a bad habit. I'm sorry. I have this bad habit of only playing like excerpts of songs. So I'll play like about 30 seconds of it, you know. But you know what? One of my daughters. My daughter Phoenix is one of her favorite tunes is "Walk Away." If you want to run away, you can run, but you can never hide from the shadow that's screaming inside. Wherever you go, I'll be 2 steps behind you. You guys know that Def Leppard's a great tune. And yeah, see, this is a habit that I have. So yeah, there you go. Actually, you know, Dave, I was thinking about you the other day because one of the things I want to do, you know, Prism Live allows you to record video in, you know, in HD with you know, your icons and everything in place. I want to go back to that temple that we went to, you know, the Phoenix Temple, and I want to go in that back room because Dave was there, you guys. You remember that. Go back in history, back when Dave was in Taiwan, and check out those scopes because they're significant. That back room had pristine, high-level porcelain work. They had some deities back there from Chinese mythology, and well, that may be disrespectful to call it mythology, from Chinese ecclesiastical beliefs. And the point being that we couldn't show it because there was no signal back there. So I want to go back with my gimbal and I want to film it. And I want to show you. Now, let me do that. It wasn't it? It really, really was. Now, Fide, you asked me what was on the menu. So here's what I'm going to do. That was a steak that I had with Bootsy. Okay, that was a steak. And then we also had this was the pork that I had at the beginning with the Bootsy sauce, you know. And let me see. Oh, this is when we first put the pork on. The one on the left was the one that I just showed you. The piece on the right belonged to those Taiwanese guys that came along. They said, those are the guys that asked me, you know, could we barbecue too? And I said, yeah, sure. And so, yeah, that's what we did. I take pictures and Prism allows me to import them. So the funny thing is it's, no, I didn't braise it. No, it's just raw, what we call fei rou. It's got the rind on it, you know, and the fat. And all I did was I just grilled it in charcoal. But the funny thing is I had lent my grill to Jackson, and he forgot the bottom. So you can see, right? If you look carefully, You can see there's no bottom in the grill. You see the the concrete underneath the charcoal. So I just did it anyway. So now, as long as Dave is here, I'd like to honor Dave, because Dave, you know, when he was like on the other side of the world, and he did this, man. This is so cool.
Hi, this is Dave in Osaka, live from Greenland, and you're watching Taiwan Live TV with MJ Klein.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. I like steak medium rare. I don't like pork medium rare. Although I know, you know, that nowadays it's not like it was 50 years ago. You can have, and I remember Chef Tell came on TV and he was doing a show where he was showing rare pork. I've had rare pork. I don't like it. I'm not used to it. Same with poultry. So, but yeah, but steak, absolutely. Yeah, that steak was medium rare. In fact, I think it was still mooing. Sometimes I've had it like, you know, more on the rare side, more than medium. Now let me show you something. More Than a Feeling. That's a song that everybody plays wrong. And I'll tell you why they play wrong, because they're confused. Because there's actually two. That was. You're right, Linda, absolutely. That whole trip was incredible. And you want to know what the hardest part for me was? He told me in advance he was going to do it, and I couldn't tell anybody. I wanted to tell everybody, hey, Dave's going to Greenland! Yeah, no, he told me like weeks before, but I'm like, throw away the key. More Than a Feeling, right? You know how it goes. Right, and there's the bass goes. Then it goes. The key is the second note where the bass goes D, then it goes G. That has to be an open G on guitar. I've heard so many people play it like this. But it's, hear that? It's got to be that way. When I play the whole phrase, especially on my 12 string, goodness, wish I had my 12 string. When I play the whole phrase that way, then you understand. That's how it's supposed to be played. And but there are so many things that they did that were just phenomenal. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Dave's been everywhere, man. He makes, you know, people who call themselves jet setters and travelers, you know, he makes them look like they're rank amateurs. Because I don't know anybody who's been to North Korea. And Dave, you've been there 3 times, right? It's crazy, isn't it? You've been to North Korea 3 times, right? If I'm not mistaken. And so yeah, but the last time was the most amazing because it was more open than anything else. So bottom out. Two times, okay. There's a girl and her boyfriend, and the boyfriend was looking at the phone, but the girlfriend was looking at me. So I just said, you know, politely, you know, have you eaten or not? Got plenty of food. Now, do you mind if I do a little bit of my favorite Brad Delp stuff? the answer. I know that like the traffic is crazy. The funny thing is, this is like one of those songs like, see, today in the 21st century in this PC world, you can't make hit records like you used to. Cause he says like, okay, good night, take care, Dave. Thank you so much for joining. Take care. I'll play something for you in the replay, okay? In one song, Let Me Take You Home Tonight, he says, you must understand this. I've watched you for so long that I feel I've known you. I know I can't be wrong. But today, you know, the woman would go, oh, you're a stalker. You're stalking me, you know. But we used to call it love, you know. You must understand this. I watched you for so long that I feel I know you. No, it can't be wrong. Anyway, we get together. I wanna make you see. I dream of your sweet love tonight. Come on, let it be. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Good night. Take care. One on from Taiwan, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's late. Yeah, it is late for you. Dave's a working man. He's got to get up. It's an hour later than here, and it's after 10 here. So, yeah. All right. That is a great tune. Well, I'm not like this. I'm really kinda shy, but I get this feeling whenever you walk by. I don't wanna down you, I wanna make you high. If you could see with me, come on and let it try. Let me try, I guess. Let me take you home tonight. Mama, now it's alright. Let me take you home tonight. I'll show you sweet delight. Now, excuse me, I keep getting like pieces of this food in my throat, and I don't know why. My throat's like a thoroughbred racehorse. It's high strung, and you know. So let me see. Rock songs. Oh. You know, V-Day, I saw Led Zeppelin twice. I've seen The Who with Keith Moon. I've seen King Crimson. I've seen Black Sabbath. I mean, I saw Paul Revere in the Raiders in 1966, and Tommy Rowe opened for him. I was, 11 years old. That's really hard to say. But I will tell you who I think is the most professional entertainer that I've ever seen. I think that might be what you're asking. I was 22 years old, and I was playing with a band called The Showmen. If you look them up on Wikipedia, they were big in the 60s, and I was playing with them in the late 70s. They were kind of, past their prime, but they were still doing like the Holiday Inn and the Hilton circuits and beach music clubs, and they were still making a living, off these old tunes. Norman Johnson, who later formed chairman of the board, was the original, founder of The Showmen, and he had left. He came out to see us one time. I'd met him. He was a pretty cool guy. But most of these guys have passed on now. So I'm 63. I was 23. So do the math. It's a long, long time ago. So let me tell you this story, because you guys know I love telling stories. So I'm 22 years old, and I had just come off the road playing in a rock band, and disco hit, you know, and we're playing, you know, that's the way I like it. Tell me I'm your loving man. I mean, this unchallenging, ridiculous stuff, you know, that we had to play. And, you know, cause if you're a professional musician, that's how you make your living, man. I don't care what anybody says. Or, you know, I've had people tell me, oh, I'm not going to sell out. Well, let me tell you what. Sit on the curb for a couple afternoons, yeah, and you'll play whatever it takes to get that meal. And I was on the road. I didn't have an address. I had a suitcase that on the side of it, it said, I'm new in town, because I was everywhere I went. We went to Boston to record. We lived on the bus for a month in front of the studio. So I had to play this stuff, and a contract came up with the beach music thing with a showman. These guys were all like my age and a little bit younger than I am now back then. And I learned a lot from them. They were seasoned professionals, and they could sing under any circumstances, and nothing ever bothered them. Yeah. So here's what happened. Yeah, it's a new kid in town, right? So we're playing, you know, our normal set, and this dude comes in earlier on in the show, and he's a black gentleman, and he has his hair in what they used to call a process. It's kind of like it kind of looked. Older black gentlemen will know what I'm talking about. Younger guys probably won't, but it looked like a piece of French pastry where it kind of went like it was in like this and flat in the center. It looked really cool, very shiny, very like absolutely like high class. And this gentleman walked in, and he had a powder blue jacket on, a ruffle shirt, cummerbund, and he had those like striped tuxedo pants down the side, and he had a bodyguard with him. The bodyguard, it was clear as a bodyguard. So we sat down at this table, kind of in front of the band, and you know we're playing our song, we're playing our set, and I'm looking at the drummer going, you know, who's that? Who's that? I don't know. We didn't know who the guy was. So we're going through this set, and then Leslie, the lead singer for the showman, said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a huge star in the audience." And we're going like, oh, we're going to figure out who this dude is now. And the next song on the playlist was Treat Her Like a Lady by Eddie Cornelius. And that's who it was. He said, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eddie Cornelius. And he's walking up there, right? He's taking his time, and he gets there just in time to grab the mic and go like this. All my friends that ask me something they can't understand, how I treat all the women in the palm of my hand. You got to treat her like a lady. You got to treat her like a lady. You got to treat her like a lady, and then you will receive all that you can see. Do you know what I mean? And this guy was the slickest performer that I have ever seen, let alone work with. Now, he's out in front, and he goes like this, and that means break it down, okay? It is cool. And this means break it down. And so we're going, right? And he's starting to do the rap. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming down here tonight. I did this record in 1960. And he did this thing that I have never seen. He's like, put your hands together. But it wasn't like it was like just a little, put your hands together like this. So the song says, how I keep all the women in the palm of my hand. That's a sexist statement, but that guy had the audience in the palm of his hand. I'm telling you. And so anyway, the mic stand is up here, and he's got the mic, and he did this thing. He took his jacket off and he threw it, and the bodyguard caught it. And he's going, huh! And we're going, huh! Yeah. Kind of like James Brown thing. But he starts hopping up and down. And he hopped in a circle around the mic stand and kept doing that, going like, oh yeah, oh, like that. And it was just it was absolutely brilliant in the simplicity of what he was doing, because it was completely entertaining, and it was, there wasn't a single swear word, there wasn't, it was high class entertainment by an absolute consummate professional. I've never known anybody. I've been on stage with some big name guys, and he beats them all. And so we're thinking, we're playing, we're going to, party tonight, in the dressing room with Eddie Cornelius, we're going to be hanging out, right? Well, so after that, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Cornelius, and he booked out the door, and that's the last I ever saw of him again. I saw elbows and, the back of his feet, and that was it. So, if you look on YouTube, I haven't really kept up with him recently, but if you look on YouTube, and I actually found a video, and I put a message on it, where I said that I met him a long time ago, and he was like, or I played with him a long time ago on a show, and he was like the most consummate professional. There's a YouTube video. Look up Eddie Cornelius. He's like singing at somebody's wedding. Okay, he's like 75 years old. And the guy is like butter smooth. Like see, here's what I keep saying. Okay, another one. Smokey Robinson. Who is gonna replace Smokey Robinson? Who? Nobody. Do you know what I'm saying? Motown was not a record company. It was a school for entertainers. It produced high-level entertainers, quality entertainers with elevated standards and elevated standards of conduct. None of those Motown people had like scandals in the newspaper, you know what I'm saying? Right. So, anyway, that's my commentary. I just think that today's young stars, they just, and I know I sound like an old fogey, I'm an old guy, yeah. But I just think, because I started out so young, and my mom was a singer in the 60s, and I've been around. I was playing clubs when I was 8. I'm just telling you, man, that those old stars had a style of poise, class, and dignity that the younger stars, they don't have. So, thanks. So, I got some other stories if you want to hear. Do you guys know Tavares? Remember that song called "It Only Takes a Minute, Girl"? It only takes a minute, girl, to fall in love. It only sold 5 million records. You guys know Tavares? You guys know Ellis Hall, right? Tower of Power. I did some studio work with Ellis back before he worked with Tower. And he was amazing. Ellis is blind. Have I written songs? Fide, I'm surprised you don't know who I am. Ellis is blind, and he would put the braille on his chest and read it. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a gift. You don't have to go to Spotify. You don't have to go to Amazon or iTunes or any of that stuff to spend money on my songs. I shouldn't do this. I set up a special URL just for my friends, but I'm going to give it to you right now. Here's what I want you to do. Now, if you type this into your browser, you will get an instant download of 9 songs. Many of these songs were mastered at Sony back in the day. If you go to mjksongs.com, right now, Spotify, we'll just look for recording artist MJK on Spotify, because I got one tune there that I released recently. I'm re-releasing my stuff, and I have my own personal recording studio in my home, and I'm working on a new tune right now, but I'm not ready to release it. If you go to mjksongs.com, you can download a zip file of 9 songs. Be prepared to be a little bit surprised, because you heard me sing like I sing now when I'm 63. Can you imagine how I used to sing when I was 38? Yeah, I did stuff that, well, let me put it this way. Whenever I opened for some big name act, I was never invited back again. So, well, the cat's out the bag, but I'm going to take this down. But there you go, MJK Songs. Or, if you want to, like, if you want some pictures, I got a couple pictures like of me and Tony Vaughn and some of the guys. Just go to oops, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Go to mjk.asia. That is my music site, mjk.asia. And just for the fun of it, I'll show you something, because, yeah, of course. Yeah, but you have to have a utility, you know, to unzip it, and because it's a compressed file with MP3 files in it. But you just do that from your PC. So this is my old logo that I made into gold, because I've got actually I'm in the process of recording a new album in my own studio. So there you go. And anyway, so I can, it doesn't matter. I don't think I have any, no, never mind. I think I have some other media, so there you go, yeah. I'm not a big self-promoter, you know? I'm just not. Anyway. And by the way, I was just kidding. I didn't mean to embarrass you. I'm a nobody. So we're talking about rock songs that you can play on the acoustic guitar. Stuff. AC/DC is really brilliant in the way that they phrase stuff, like who made who, with the at the turnaround. Stuff. I really like it. It's fantastic. So I'm surprised they haven't turned the lights out. It's okay with me, but I suspect that within the next 2 to 3 minutes they're going to turn the lights out, and that might be my cue. Yes and no. I was too young. I was like 12. I was 12. And I looked at the videos and stuff, and they're pretty cool. Actually, Bill Hanley from Boston. The story is that he just set up his 8-track recorder and just started recording, and nobody asked him to do it. He just did it. But I don't know if it's true, But the story that I heard, because I was a member of the Boston recording engineering and producing community, that he sold the Woodstock tapes for $10,000. Of course, 1969, $10,000 is a lot of money. Nowadays, that's like the budget to remodel my living room, So, but yeah. They did the Woodstock 2 thing, Some drama here. Road racers by guys that don't know what they're doing. They're driving on the wrong side of the road. Woodstock 2. When that happened, I was looking at a lot of message boards. Yeah, that sounds about right. But the message board was full of 17-year-olds saying that all they wanted to do was just get naked. It's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages. All I want to do is get naked for the whole weekend. I was like, holy cow. So, wasn't about the music. It was about, I want to get naked. An excuse to run around no clothes on or something. It's like crazy. This pork is so good. And it has that flame broiled flavor. Oh man, I'm not Turkish. I am German, Irish, French Canadian, and they tell me like this much is Native American, but I don't know how much I believe. And I live in Taiwan. But I take that as a compliment. Turkish people are cool. So, Vide, you're asking me if I write any tunes, and by now maybe you have, hey, hi from Montreal. I had a big fan base in Montreal. Are you really in Montreal? Seriously. I got a Montreal story to tell you. Well, my family is from Ogdensburg, which is right across, the river from Ottawa, right? And my grandfather, I guess we could call him my maternal grandfather, on my mother's side, right? He was a farmer, but he raised horses as a hobby. And he raced them on the St. Lawrence River. My mother's father is the guy that invented the horseshoe with the cleats that grab the ice for sulky racing on ice. Because that's what he did. He developed these trotting horses for sulky racing, right? And so anyway, that's him. Anyway, whatever the claim to fame is for that, I don't know. Okay, I got a Montreal story for you. In 1998, the winter of 1998, I had quite a fan base in Montreal at the time. They all know me as MJK. Back then I owned MJK.com. And that got stolen from me. But MJK.Asia, nobody can take this from me. But anyway. So, I went up for the weekend to see Lunderman. Well, that's all that I know. My mom's 91 and she doesn't know what century it is, so I can't ask her any questions. So there's actually two sides to this story. Now, let me know if this is boring, okay? But I'll tell you, I sent some feelers out. I sent some emails to people who were, in touch with most of my fan base, and I said, what is a good weekend for me to come up and and meet all the fans? Probably about around 20 people, the diehard fans or more, but like around 20 people that would come out, to hang out. And so they told me on this weekend. I said, okay. So I went up there, and actually there's three parts of the story. So the first part of the story is I said, okay, you guys going to pick a restaurant, right? So they picked a restaurant, and they had all these people here. It was about 20 MJK fans. It was fantastic. And I told the waiter to come over here, and I made a deal with the waiter that I was going to pick up the check. I didn't tell anybody, so that was cool. Which is really nice, because then people didn't hold back. They were ordering whatever they wanted, and then no bill came. That was cool. So the second thing was, the next day, a couple of my friends, a university professor named Christian and his girlfriend Marielle, invited me to Marielle's father's farm. And he raised trees. It was a lumber farm. It was outside Montreal in Quebec province. It was amazing. And they themselves lived in Saint-André-Avellin, which I went to their home, and it's a beautiful village. So here's what happened. This is amazing. And I've got pictures. I don't have them prepared to show you, but I can do that the next time. But I have pictures. And what happened, Fide, was we're pulling into the driveway of this farm, and there's like 60 people there, cars and stuff. I go, what's going on? And they said, well, we're having our family reunion this weekend. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? I could have come on another weekend. The thing is, I'm interfering with your reunion. And Marielle says, no, we planned our family reunion around your visit. I'm like, what? She said, yeah, we're all big fans of your music. And she said, look, and they had a receiving line. They all had like my CD, and they were standing in a line to meet me. And when I got out of the car, I'm like, it's just crazy. So in those days, I used to carry one of those paint pens, and I just went through and, it was like, thank you so much, So then what happened, Sunday night, another guy named Scotty had arranged for me to go play. I brought my guitar and a little amp that I'd modified to make it sound better. And I went to this club, and there was a Quebecian blues band. A guitar player was fantastic. I think he was better than me. And he had arranged for me to sit in with this band. Now, let me take a side note. If you're from Montreal, you probably have heard of course, he's ancient history now, but Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. Do you know who those people are, Fide? The famous band from Canada? Anyway, my organization knew Alec, their manager. So, I think I told this story before, but let me tell it again. I'm playing at this club and having a great time. Got done, signed a bunch of autographs. Went back to Boston. My business partner, Danny, who later became the boss of the Bootsy barbecue sauce company. Okay, well, look up Mahogany Rush. Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. Fantastic band. And they're older now, but they're still making content, and it's still relevant content. Frank Marino is a monster. Frank Marino knocked everybody out, and California Jam too, when he used a Gibson SG and did a Jimi Hendrix impersonation that was jaw-dropping. People couldn't believe it. You know, wrong guitar, everything. But he sounded just like him. It was incredible. So here's the thing. Danny says, hey, I got a call from Alec. I heard that you played some club in Montreal. And I said, yeah, I was just fooling around. Here's what Alec had told Danny. Alec was working on a book thing with Marlon Brando. And Marlon Brando was at Alec's house. Now, the club where I was playing has a kitchen, and the chef is a personal friend of Alec. And apparently the chef called Alec and went, hey, listen, man, there's this rock star from Boston down here playing, up here playing, and listen. And he's holding the phone up like this. And Marlon Brando's going, what's going on? Who's that? And so Danny said that, you know, Alec and Marlon Brando are listening together on the same phone, you know, to me playing guitar while the chef at the club is holding the phone up. I mean, that's like, you know, if I didn't know Danny and know Alec, I would not have believed any of that. But knowing both of those gentlemen, so that was, I think that's the end of my funny stories for tonight. Next time I'll tell you a funny story about Bootsy Tavares and his live show band. Guys have been great. I appreciate it. I gotta go. It's 22:46 here. I had to clean all this mess up, take it back to the house. Got to break down my grill and stuff, put my guitar away. But it really, really has been a pleasure. Thanks so much for putting up with my rambling and my butchering several songs because I don't practice them. Guys, take care. Thanks so much. I want to say thank you so much for watching my live stream. You guys take care. And we'll see you. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining here on Taiwan Live TV. This is MJ Klein signing off. We'll say Wan An. Good night. Bye-bye.